Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. Today's video I'm going to bring you along as I do some work on the garden, doing some stuff on my tomatoes and my corn, and maybe even check on some peppers. So let's go ahead and get started. When it comes to the tomatoes, this plant has reached 3 feet tall, so now it's reasonable for me to let it spread out and go up the trellis. So I have a sucker here that's growing out, and I'm going to use a tomato clip to clip this main stem against the trellis. And then as this one grows out, I'll be able to have it come on over this way, and I'll use tomato clips to hold it on here. So for this one, I'm just going to use one of these tomato clips and just clip it on there so it holds it in place. And that way this one can kind of continue up right along here. And then we'll get this one at a later date. On this plant, I also have some suckers growing out, but this one's not quite at the 3 foot mark. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut that one out. And I have another one down here, which is even lower, so I'm definitely going to cut that one too. Further up the plant, I do have another sucker. It's at the same level as the first plant, which is like that 3 foot level. So this one I can let grow out and go up along the trellis. And then I will also use another tomato clip, go and clip the main stem in place. I'm going to use that same process as I go through the rest of these plants. Now, if the sucker happens to produce another sucker of its own, those I will clip off, and I'm just going to do 2 stems on each plant. This plant is producing several suckers. So I got a nice thick one here and then a smaller one behind it, so I'm going to cut that one out. And then it's got a couple, like 3 more up here closer to the growing stem. So I will also remove those. My brandywines are now about 3.5 foot tall, and I got my first tomatoes forming on these too. Likewise, my Torrandina is also a good 3.5 foot tall. It's closing in on 4. More flowers forming. And I got some tomatoes that are just starting to change color. For the plants growing on the pole, I'm just using string. So the first thing I do is I tie the string to the pole. Then I go ahead and use the string to secure the plant in place. Probably should have made the string a little bit longer, but should be good enough to work. I got my first ripe jalapeno, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that with another small one over on this plant. My first Alma paprika are getting close to ripening. On that side, I harvested 4 Hungarian style bulldog paprika a couple days ago and already dehydrated them and powdered them. For the popcorn, I need to cut out all this vegetation that's going through the fence from my neighbor's yard. You can also see that the popcorn is now getting tall enough where I can hill it up, and I'm going to do a side dressing of blood meal with it. So I'm just going to put some blood meal along the side. And I'll use a rake to kind of just pull the soil up around the corn. That'll help cover the blood meal so it can get worked into the soil at that point. And it'll help make the corn plants have a better foundation. They'll be sturdier for holding up against the wind. In the bare ground I uncovered by hilling the plants, I'm going to go and lay down some fresh semi-finished compost to cover all that up so it helps reduce the weeds. Having that compost in there like that to cover up those bare spots will also help retain moisture in the soil. You know, when it comes to sweet potatoes, Travis at Lazy Dog Farm swears by adding potassium to the potatoes to help them grow better. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but I don't have any sulfate of potash to add just pure potassium to them. I do have an overripe banana, which are known to have lots of potassium. So let's go ahead and just cut this in half, and we'll bury it in the center of 2 buckets, and we'll check on it at the end of the season and see if that makes any difference. In my experience, bananas like this buried in the ground break down pretty quickly. So we'll let the soil microbes go ahead and make that conversion from banana to potassium, and hopefully the plants will benefit from it. The first of the pinto beans I planted around the sweet corn are starting to come up. This one corn here is kind of lagging behind all the others. I might have to give this one a little boost of nitrogen with some blood meal. Hopefully get it to catch up with the others. This one here is also a little bit shorter than all the rest, so might have to do the same with that. Well, I hope you enjoyed coming along on my little work adventure today. And like that banana I put into the sweet potatoes, we'll just have to see how that does in the end of the season. You know, 2 buckets got half a banana and the other bucket did not. We'll see if that makes any difference. Anyways, until next time, I hope you enjoyed, got something out of this, and we'll see you on the next one.